Okay, the purpose of this video is to demonstrate how to use Geomedia to export a feature class of routes from the Oracle database out to a Geomedia access file. I guess the main intention here is in support of the snapshot workflow for the routes catalog. So what we're looking at here is Geomedia connected to Oracle. And let me just show you the connections here. We've got a connection to the LRSP database using the LRS Connect, which is a read-only connection. This workflow would work with any connection credential, so any user can use this workflow. So what we're looking at on the map is the routes catalog view, which is basically just all the routes, but sort of pulled together in a way that's especially useful for the routes catalog snapshot. And the HPMS users can see this routes catalog feature class, and so can the LRS Connect, obviously. The labels that we're looking at here are the record IDs for each individual segment of route. And just to sort of demonstrate that, let's just look at the attributes behind any one of these. So 208-3245, 208-3245, etc., etc. So the purpose of showing these on the map is that we're going to look at an export of this data after we export it and demonstrate that the values remain stable on the way out. One other detail I want to make you aware of is I've got a spatial filter on. We're looking at just a small little piece of LA. And as you can see, there's only 400 segments within this spatial filter. Okay. To use output to feature class to again, create a snapshot of the data, first thing you have to do is create a access geodatabase file or access Geomedia database file to output to. And the way you do that is within Geomedia, you go to warehouse, say create new warehouse. So rather than warehouse connections, we want new warehouse. So press that button. Basically, it asks you just what kind of file to use. The first thing you say is new normal MDT. That's going to be our template. And then actually create the file. I'm just going to put it in the default location, which is C warehouses. You can put it anywhere you want. And I'm going to name it something, just export. And yeah. Before I say save, I just want to point out that this is the C warehouses folder view within the File Explorer. And as soon as I say saved on here, you'll see the file actually come into existence. Save. All right, great. Now export.mdb just got created. Now to be clear, this is currently still just an empty access file. We haven't done the export yet. So what we've done is create a file into which to send the routes data. Okay. Now the command to export the data is under Manage Data and use output to feature classes. And first thing it asks so there's two tabs here. You see there's General and Advanced, and it's critical that we look at both before we say OK. What we're going to see, what we're going to export is the view HPMS.view routes catalog. So we're going to scroll down to that. And there it is right here. And you have to actually click inside here. It's weird. It makes you think that you've selected sometimes by clicking in here, but the truth is it's got to be there. If you go to the Advanced tab, you'll see it understands. Okay, great. The output, the features to output come from this feature class. The source is in Oracle. The features to output is this feature class. The target is going to be named this, and we can change this target name if we so choose. The output mode is going to be new. By the way, there's options. We could append, force append, all these kinds of things. Really, all these other options relate to modifying an existing feature class in the target database file. But in our case, we're creating a new feature class from the features that we're outputting. So it's almost always new, is the truth. It is worth experimenting with these options to learn how to really use this tool, though. The key mode. So the question it's asking here is, do you want to use the same column that is the primary key in the source data as the primary key in the target feature class that we're about to create? And obviously the primary key in the source is what? Record ID. If we say preserve key, that it is the right thing to do, so leave it on preserve key, but I just want you to know that you have the option to have it create a new key as well. What it would do is, if you said new keys, it would preserve the record ID column and content, but it would create a new column called ID in the target, and then just populate it based on a sequence. Now, the key thing here, and this is where I think you guys may have gotten tripped up in the past, is you have two options here, preserve definition or preserve values. If you preserve definition, basically what you're saying is you're going to populate the preserved record ID based on the old definition, which is a sequence. So what it will do is create a new sequence and populate it with based on a new sequence, which is not what you want. So it'll start at 1 and then build its way up. Obviously, these records don't start at 1. What you want to do is preserve the values, not preserve the definition. So preserve the values. And there's other details that you can manipulate. You can actually remove or rename attributes. There's lots of actually quite a bit of power here, worth exploring. And then the other thing is you can modify the target coordinate system that the data is in. Again, I don't think you'll ever want to actually do that now that I think about it, but it's worth noting that you have that ability to manipulate data on the way out. At this point, we just say okay, and I always look one last time. All right, so we're going from here to there based on these configurations, and the target connection is the export database, and say OK. By the way, as soon as I say OK, you'll notice in the lower right-hand corner it'll show you a count of records going out. It's not a big deal when you're only outputting 400 records, but if you're outputting like 1 million, it's nice to have that count going so that you know how far along in the process you are. So, all right, press OK. Do you want to? Yes, I want to continue. There's where the count happened. Great, it gives you the word output complete. And by the way, because we had this display target feature classes in map window checked, what it did is it automatically added our new feature class that is in access now to the map. Great. So there it is. So now I'm going to locatable off this guy. So we can still see the labels. So we're still looking at the labels of the record IDs from the original feature class, but we have a new feature class from here. This is essentially a copy of the same data, but now coming from our access file. And I'm just going to double click on this guy right here. And we're going to see that the record ID in the new record is identical to the record ID in the old. 212-7867. 212-7867. So as you can see, the record ID was preserved. Maybe just for completeness, let's look at one other record. 183-0806. 183-0806. Zoom in on that so you can see a little better. And that's it. So at this point, this file now contains the 400 features that we exported. We could connect to it with a completely different Geomedia GeoWorkspace and see the data and do HPMS processing against it.